Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Friday the 6th of November.
Welcome to Rise and Shine Rwanda weekly review show, where we'll take you back through the best of the week here on Rise and Shine. It's just past 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Ivan Magwene.
And I'm Yvette Shumbusho. Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you the review of the week's top stories, analysis, debate, and insights into the stories making headlines here in Rwanda and across the world. The Rise and Shine crew have throughout the week been diligently gathering and preparing everything you need to know about what's happening here in Rwanda and around the world.
It's been a busy week for us here at the Rise and Shine headquarters. One of the most interesting stories that I put it on this week was the annual World Bank's Doing Business report. Let's take a look back. Yeah, the World Bank's Doing Business report is published, and economies are ranked on their ease of doing business in 189 countries. Therefore, countries which are ranked top within the ease of doing business can indicate that the regulatory environments are more conducive to the start and sustainability of local firms. The rankings are determined by sorting the aggregate scores on 10 topics, each consisting of several indicators giving equal weight to each topic. Now, joining me in studio today is Kenneth Agutamba, Senior Economy and Business Writer at The New Times. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to first of all get into the report. I want to have, first of all, your own perspective view when you first saw the report as a business journalist.
Well, I think from a business writer's perspective, this is always a big story whenever the report comes out. And the most important thing is that the report is growing older and more important, because the latest report is the 13th edition. So that shows that it's been around for the last 13 years. Now, the most important thing is that 13 years ago, before we had, or when they first introduced the Doing Business survey, the World Bank, all countries, the 189 countries you're talking about, world over, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, there was a lot of what we call red tape. In simple language, call them roadblocks to business. You know, someone wants to do a business, but there are simply too many problems. And these ones were making it hard for countries to attract investors. So 13 years down the road, countries have realized the importance of having friendlier, less burdensome regulations, so that they can foster businesses to prosper, so that they can have the best and probably the most attractive business environment. So the latest report we are seeing is literally saying that 13 years after introducing the Doing Business survey, are countries improving? Mm-hmm. Are they doing better? Do they have better doing business environments? And for Rwanda, unfortunately, this report says we dropped, our global ranking.
And exactly, that's where I was coming, actually.
Dropped 7 points,
yes.
From number 55 last year,
yes,
to 62nd this year.
Yes, and which actually leaves me now going deep into the real questions of where do you think we might have gone wrong? I've seen all the indicators, what they follow in terms of rankings, but in your own business world, do you think doing business in Rwanda is getting better, or somehow, somewhere, we lost track of what was taking place?
I think it's a choice on how you choose to look at it, because there are about 10 indicators, mm-hmm, and we improved on 4 of them. We dropped on 5 of them. We dropped on 5 of them, and there was no change, yes, on 1.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the 4 where we improved, because you're not going to score 10 out of 10 on all 10. But you're probably going to undertake a bit of reforms on one indicator where you feel you needed to do a lot. Because remember, countries were evaluated on what they did, which reforms they put in place between June 2014 and June 2015. So 12 months, what did you do to improve the doing business environment in your country? And the verdict is that we improved on 4 of them, we didn't do well on 5 of them, and we didn't change on 1 of them. So the question of whether things are getting worse or better, I wouldn't put it that way. This kind of study is quite complicated because it's a competition. It's a cutthroat competition. All 189 countries are looking to be the best.
Exactly. Now, we're in a competitive world, I understand.
Exactly.
But how much does it take Rwanda to keep up the same position? Now, we're dropping down seven places down. That's a lot. To me, a country dropping from 55 to the 62nd position. I mean, there's got to be something that went wrong somehow, somewhere.
You have to look at which indicator, or for example, where did we drop most? And I think it's trading across borders, where we dropped about 7-9 points.
Yes.
But it's not up to Rwanda when it comes to trading across borders.
But we're doing better than I think we've ever done in terms of cross-border.
No. For cross-border, you have to look at it as it's collective for all the countries in the East African region. It's not up to Rwanda to, for example, address some barriers to trade. It's up to all the 5 partner countries in the ESC. If Rwanda does its best and the neighbors don't do that, obviously you're going to drag one country down. And I will show you, much as Rwanda dropped 7 points down, it is still the best ranked country in East Africa. That tells you something. And also you have to put in consideration that 2 years ago, the World Bank decided to change the methodology on how they count this. Rwanda used to be in the top 40, before 2 years ago. Last year, when they changed methodology, the report came and we are number 55. Now, this time around, we are number 62. So that will tell you that, for example, it's like playing soccer and you score a goal and the referee says, no, that's outlawed, it's not a goal. You just have to acclimatize, get used to the new rules and improve. And it's been only 2 years, so probably we have room to improve.
Yes, now that brings me to the question exactly. When you say that the World Bank changed the methodology, now the question is, now when the World Bank used to follow how the authorization of how business is done, and maybe this time the World Bank is looking at more on the practical ground on how business is really done. A lot of people have been saying, we have the policies, we have what it takes. You can register your business within 1 day. But the question is, what comes after you register your business? Lots of complaints in terms of getting access to electricity. Getting electricity, water supply, some of the things that were mentioned in the report that brought us down. And I'm beginning to suspect maybe it's time that the World Bank has seen that they've been focusing more on policies than the practical things on the ground. Do you think maybe somehow, somewhere, we went wrong on what's really done on the ground than what's more done in the policies?
Maybe we concentrated on a few indicators and we didn't concentrate enough on the others. That's what I see. Because
what are those indicators?
We improved, for example, on getting credit. Last year we were number 4. This year we are number 2. Now, if people who are doing business in Rwanda are telling you that they find it very easy for them to get credit, that's the most important thing. If you start your business, no matter how hard it is, but you're able to get the credit to keep it running, that's a very important thing, because we tied in the 2nd position with countries like United States and Colombia. Obviously, New Zealand was number 1. So you have to it's a take and give. But you're right. We need to now, because the World Bank, if I read properly somewhere, they are saying that it's high time countries started to concentrate on the quality of their regulations. It's not about saying it takes only 6 hours to register business. You now have to look at the smaller little bits. And what I see, and probably the advice that the government of Rwanda should take from this report, is to listen, because this survey is based on answers that they get from people who are doing business here. there are several questions on each indicator, and it's a yes or no. So if traders are saying no to certain questions in this survey, it is high time that we started listening. What are they saying? And then we take action, because that's it. Because the Doing Business report is a key reference point for people seeking to do business in Rwanda and every country. If a foreign investor wants to, come open a business in Rwanda, this is one of the documents they go to. So you're right when you say that we need to look at the quality of our regulations. And how do we do that? We have to talk to the beneficiaries of these regulations. Are they working, or they're just good on paper? And once we do that, I think, in reports to come, our figures will look up.
And that exactly. Now, if you look at the report, one of the key issues that disturbed me was the cross-border trade. To me, at this point, numbers tend to show that Rwanda is on a good track. Maybe you said it, other countries have other problems that maybe could make Rwanda lose its focus on the cross-border trade. But then that leaves me, if you look at how Kenya is presently doing in terms of the economy, they're not so poor like they were doing in the last few months. If you look at Uganda right now, they're not doing so bad. And cross-border seems to be, if you look at the numbers, seems to be getting better. Now for me, the question is, for example, if you look, I'm saying this on a market because Rwanda is focusing on the 150 large market. We're having, of course, fluctuating prices. Rwanda is attracted less foreign less foreign investment than Uganda and Kenya, but then things with the cross-border trade are getting better. This report shows we're dropping so bad that I think was one of the key issues that made us drop at least 7 positions down. Do you think somehow the economies maybe of all these countries within the East African region are not supporting Rwanda's economic growth and helping increase its numbers? Or you think it's a problem within the system here?
No, I think that there is a particular reason why we seemed to be dropping on doing business.
And what's that
borders.
reason?
I may not remember so well, but in the report they said there is just one particular factor that they say actually contributed to this drop. And it is simple, because if the report gives you a reason, it means it points you to your weakness. And like I said, it's very simple, because this is not the last report. It's not a condemnation. It's not a death sentence for the Rwandan economy. It is very easy. We just need to look at what caused this drop, address it. But in addressing it, you have to be careful on emerging factors. Because like I said, if you concentrate on one, there are other 9 factors that you have to look at. So if you over-concentrate on this, and then you will drop on the other next year. And so it's a very complicated survey to keep up with, but it is good because it keeps governments on the tenterhooks. It keeps governments on their toes to make sure that they have the best, the very best, or if they can't have the very best, they do their best to get the best doing business environment they can have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kenneth. I know this discussion can go on, but for now, I'd like to thank you so much for taking off your time to come and join us in the studio.
You're welcome.
We hope to see you next time, maybe.
All right.
All right, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll be right back.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
So it was the 13th edition of the World Bank's Doing Business Report, and Rwanda came on top in the region.
Of course, as usual. I mean, I think we've been like for almost now 3 consecutive years, been the best in the region. And
yeah, I think so.
Well, sad news though, we lost up. We went down to 7 positions down. So from 55. From the 55th position to the 62nd. So that was very bad. But then again, there's some areas that we did a lot to, we improved a lot, from access to credit to
starting a business.
Yes, and where the areas where we did bad was the cross-border trade, and
that was the worst.
Yes,
and that was the worst. But
yes.
like, I actually visited PSF and I spoke to two of their directors, and they told me that when it comes to cross trading across borders, the issue is, for example, Burundi. I mean, with the trouble that is going on there at the moment, it's very hard to actually sell them stuff and actually buy stuff from them. But with Congo, as one time actually reported on this, the Ambassador Clover Gatete received, as the government also received money to be able to facilitate the trading between Congo and Rwanda. So that means people will be able to actually make multiple trips back and forth, and business will be so much better for them.
Yes.
And then another issue actually we faced with the Doing Business report, another area actually, was the getting electricity part.
Yes.
And we've had this issue. I mean, we've talked about it on the show so many times. But as they said also at PSF, we're importing some electricity from Ethiopia. We're also getting from other different countries. So in a while, at least by next year, we believe that electricity won't be such an issue, because they're working on it. Actually, each and every one of these issues, they're actually working on it. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we're really trying, and maybe at least next year, by the time the 14th edition comes out of the World Bank's Doing Business, we'll at least have climbed up a few more.
All right, thank you so much for that. And now another story that really caught our attention this week was the ongoing 2015 National Primary Living Examinations, the PLE, and also the upcoming national exams. Let's take a look back. Well, it is that time of the year every student candidate has been waiting for. Starting with the 2015 National Primary Living Examination, commonly known as PLE, are ongoing. In terms of numbers, candidates have increased by 2.9% compared to last year's, which had 165,284 candidates. However, the number of girls sitting for both the ordinary and advanced level exams that are slated for next week, Wednesday, have fallen this year. At least 45,370 girls are sitting for the all-level exams out of the 86,376 candidates, down from 45,574 who sat last year. A total of 22,288 girls are sitting A-level exams out of 42,687 candidates, down from 2,799 girls who sat last year. And joining us in studio is Mr. Joseph Mugabo, a teacher at Lycée de Kigali. He's going to share with us some tips on doing exams and the do's and the don'ts in this examination period. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mugabo.
Thank you.
All right, first I'll get into the questions of what have you as teachers been doing and as a school to prepare our candidates for the national exams?
Thank you, Ivan. As a teacher, I've been teaching for almost 9 years in Lycée de Kigali. What I have been doing for students or candidates who are going to sit for the exams, for the national exams, of course we have been teaching them. As the teachers, we have our part to play. As we all know that a teacher takes 75%, and that is teaching and equipping the students to be prepared for the national exams. And another thing is advising them what to do. And as per now, we are still in what we call knowledge-based curriculum, which we are using for today, but in the next time, in a few days, is going to be changed to competency-based. So in this case, what we have been doing, we have been advising students to be confident and to be prepared for the national exams.
So I would like to know what that, I believe there's that extra mile you take as teachers and as schools to give extra time to these candidates, because there's something you expect them to deliver at the end of the year. So what is that that you've been delivering to them or giving them in your extra work as teachers also?
Yeah, as candidates, of course, we have to give them extra work and extra time to talk to them so that they can, as we all know that without discipline, everything is possible, is impossible. That whatever you do without discipline, is equal to zero. That means the students, what we are trying to do with the students, we try to discipline them, to give them a way of how they can be disciplined and be prepared. And what do I mean by saying being prepared? It means a student has to have all the requirements as regards the preparation of the exams. And the requirements I'm talking about is like when a student is going to sit for mathematics, he's supposed to have all the sets, all the requirements that are necessary for mathematics.
Yes.
So in exams, the student is not required to take his or her time asking for a pen or asking for a protractor. So that means we are trying to equip them by telling them to have all the necessary requirements during examination.
Yes,
period.
exactly. And now that brings me again to the question, as the examination period, the primary living examination are already taking place as we're speaking right now. They're doing their finals, and we're having next week the ordinary level doing their exams. So in this whole examination period, how do you think, or what do you think candidates should be doing as to prepare for their exams?
Now, first of all, as we all know that there is a proverb which says that a wise man uses stones thrown at him to build a house. What do I mean by this proverb? It means what we have done as teachers, we have played our part. But then they have their own part to do what? To be fulfilled. What is that part? That means the time they have is very little. As we all know that they're just remaining with very few days to do their exams. We have been advising them to form groups, discussion groups, because they say no man is an island. Because a person cannot rely on him or herself and then be saying that what he has or what she has is enough. So we have been advising them to form groups, so that discussion groups, so that they can at least learn from their friends, getting some past papers, making some revisions, and even ask teachers who are available so that they can help them to be prepared.
And now there's a question that I would like to ask. I'm putting you on the spot to ask you this question.
Yes.
The question is, you say that the curriculum next year is going to be changed to a competence-based.
Yes.
Now there's a debate that has been going on with the reforms within our education system. At this point, the only way we measure if our students have been able to attain what we need them to attain is by the national exams.
Yes.
Do you think in any way or the other, the change or the reforms within our education system kind of affect the performance of our students at the end of the year?
Yes. What I would say about that curriculum, we all know that it's not going to start in with the candidate classes. It is going to begin with senior 1, in primary, then senior 1, senior 2, and senior 4. That means it is not going to affect these ones who are going to senior 3.
But there's some reforms that have affected students. And for example, if you see with some reforms that came in 2008 or reforms in 2007, change of language, change of certain subjects, some additional material in certain subjects, at the end of the year, don't you think maybe, because I expect that if you change a language, for example, it kind of affects someone that when they're going to do their national examinations. Maybe don't you think these kind of reforms come at a very fast pace? Like you're saying of a new curriculum coming up next year, don't you think maybe that's too soon to bring in a new curriculum?
Yeah, it is going to be, of course, whenever there is a change, there must be something small that would be affected. But I'm not saying that it's big, because if you look at in our school, I'm not talking in terms of the whole country, but that is what is going to what is being planned. We are planning what we call school-based in-training service. That means we are just those ones who are sent for training, they come and train the teachers who do not go for those trainings. So what are they going to do? They are going to help these teachers who are going to teach like senior 1, senior 2, and senior 4, so that they will be equipped with the curriculum in the next year.
All right then. Coming to the last questions, I want you to give us some of the tips you think a candidate should use in this kind of examination period in order to pass. Because I believe with the years of experience you've had in the education sector, there's certain tips that you normally tell your students, especially candidate students.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the first step for the student to do so that he can pass well is, first of all, reading the instructions. That is very important as far as the passing exams is concerned. A student, before sits for that exam, should first read the instructions. And even on the first day for the briefing day, that one is very important because that is the day when students are given instructions. So once a student has not followed those instructions, that's why you find that some students will fail because of that. So the first tip I would talk about is reading the instructions, understanding them, and then time management in the exams is very important, because if as far as those instructions are concerned, you read the instructions and they are telling you that this question should take this and this, it is equivalent to these marks. So if you are required to do one question and then you do two, that means you have wasted your time, and that time should be given, it should have been used for other numbers to be done in that period. So a student, I would just say that they need to be vigilant with the time management. That one will help them to pass the exams in.
All right then. Of course, as a teacher, I'm pretty sure this is the time that you always feel the joy, especially when you've been with people for almost 3 years or more than that, and you see them coming to their national exams, which will take them to another level in their education level. What is your message to your students, or to even those that went through your hands?
Now, first of all, if I see a student that has done the national exam and has passed and has gone in another life, that one, of course, I become very happy for that. Rather than finding that student doing a lot of nothing or stealing or becoming another person, the person who is not important to the society. So if that person becomes important to the society, then I also feel happy for what I have done. So the message I would give to those ones who are going to sit for the national exams, let them prepare, be prepared for the national exams, and then at the end, at this time they would not know what the fruits they are going to gain from this. But then after passing, that's when they will know that what they have been struggling for, at least they have succeeded. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Muga, for joining us in studio. We hope to see you again, and we would love to wish you success as you go on with the students. Thank you for making out with your time.
Thank you too.
All right, you've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
You're watching this review edition of Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review. Now, there were some big business stories in the news this week.
More than 500,000 women around the world succumb to breast cancer because the majority are diagnosed at an advanced stage. Let's take a look back. More than 500,000 women around the world succumb to breast cancer because the majority are diagnosed at an advanced stage. Despite survival rates being low, ranging from 10 to 40% in settings where early detection and basic treatment are available and accessible, the 5-year survival rate for early localized breast cancer exceeds 80%, according to World Organization. Breast Cancer Initiative East Africa in Kigali organized a walk with the purpose of encouraging women to find out their cancer status. And at the end of their month, they held an auction dinner-based event at Lemigo on Thursday evening.
All right, Yvette, I know a lot has been going on with the Breast Cancer Month. So tell us about the auction that happened on Thursday. What was the main purpose of the auction?
Okay, so it was an auction dinner-based kind of event, and we had corporations come, and they, of course, got a table, a corporate table, and other individuals who came. And it was an auction to help other breast cancer survivors or even breast cancer victims, people that are actually going through the who have breast cancer at the moment, and just to help them, with treatment and just to support financially, because we know definitely it costs so much. I mean, just to get treated, it costs 20 million Rwandan francs. Can you imagine that?
Yes, very expensive actually.
Extremely.
And that stands me to understand how is the picture of breast cancer in Rwanda? As a person who was there, I'm pretty sure they had to talk about how things look in Rwanda right now.
Well, I mean, there are no statistics as such, at least none that I know of. But a lot of people are getting breast cancer here and there. And I mean, this is what they were talking about at the event at some point. In the beginning, they talked about how to prevent people from actually getting the breast cancer. And the founder of the Breast Cancer Initiative East Africa, Philippa, she talked about how people can eat healthier, and how their diet should be strictly vegetables and fruits. And as we know, meat is, when especially processed, it causes cancer. So avoiding such diets of meat and processed kind of beef or pork or chicken or something like that. And they looked at the fact that people need to exercise a lot. And also, after that, there's that monthly or at least every few months scan that women should go for.
Actually, now that's exactly what what I think people should look at, because I've not seen a lot of, for example, if I look at some of the women that I know, haven't had any kind of friends.
No,
that,
definitely.
That go for breast cancer checkup or any other thing.
No, definitely.
It's a very, very occurring incidents in our lives.
Yes.
But then that leads me to another question that I want to ask you. What did they talk about in terms of trying to identify? Because they said that at third stage, cancer is far away, too hard to treat, but most people can really identify it at the first stage.
Yes, definitely. When we had the National Cancer Survivor Day in June, the statistics say that 57% of women who get to go for the screening are actually on the third stage of cancer. And you can imagine how that is. I mean, it's traumatizing for somebody telling them that they're on third stage and they did not know, and they probably went just because it was Cancer Month, and it's a problem, because now that makes me think people are not aware, or maybe people do not think it's as serious as it should be. And people actually need to understand that cancer is life and death. Actually, it's death, and it should be taken very, very, very seriously. And as the founder of the Breast Cancer Initiative East Africa stated, diet is a must. And just this world that we're living in,
Right.
we
So
have to
how
take care
are
of
we doing in
ourselves.
Rwanda in terms of chemotherapy? Do you think more needs to be done?
No, there are only actually 3 doctors that can actually be able to treat cancer in the whole country.
Okay.
Worldwide,
Breast cancer?
countrywide, yes.
Okay.
And that's very disappointing, because there are people in the rural areas that probably have cancer and they don't know, but they cannot be treated here, and they do not have 20 million Rwandan francs. And so a lot of people, even some of the people that were giving testimonies at the event, stated that they went either to Kampala or as far as India, as close as Kenya. And it's quite disappointing, and I hope that the government really steps up and gets us the equipment that we need and the doctors that we need to really treat those people that are unable to actually go as far as even as close as Kenya.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you too. You're now up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news coming up in just a minute with Moses Vidikunzira.
You're watching Rise and Shine weekly review show onto Sports Now. Mourinho was recently given the backing of Chelsea's board after their poor start to the season. Let's take a look back.
And onto the European football. Liverpool 3-1 win applied the pressure on Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho. Mourinho was recently given the backing of Chelsea's board after their poor start to the season. But whether their faith remains after this desperate defeat remains to be seen. This was another lame and uninspired performance from team delivering relegation form rather than looking up the table. Now we must wait to see if this loss spells the end of Mourinho's second coming at Chelsea. Elsewhere, Arsenal kept up the pressure on Premier League leaders Manchester City after beating Swansea City 3-0 on Saturday. While Manchester City won 2-1 against Norwich City, however, Manchester United failed to score as they drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace.
Moving on also to the Premier League, I'm pretty sure everyone was looking out to see what will happen to Chelsea this time. What a disappointment again. I'm pretty sure now Mourinho is in hot water more than ever before.
I can tell you.
What do you think is Mourinho's future now?
Now, it's no longer when. Now, I mean, it's no longer if, but now when.
Because when I saw the media, everything was, I don't know. He's deeply so in hot soup that he doesn't have to mention anything.
Actually, that was the shortest interview that Mourinho has ever done in English Premier League. The longest was 7 minutes when Chelsea lost against Southampton. 7 minutes, but this time was about 55 seconds, where when every single answer was, I don't know. I have nothing to say. A commentator asked him about, don't you think it's time for you to tell the fans the view of what's going on in the dressing room or how do players take it? And he said, the fans are not stupid. So yet they sang his name during the match. They were kind of backing him. But he said fans are not stupid, so they can know what is going on. They see. I have nothing to say because if I say something, I'll be banned.
But what do you think is causing that?
We say this over and over. It's a saga that's coming up every week in, every week out. So Mourinho is actually, he started these things the very first time. Because the time when he sacked, actually he abused the doctor Eva Cornelio in public. And the 7 minutes that he did the interview trying to provoke the media, because the Mourinho we used to know was a very friendly guy of the media. He could make headlines for them.
I mean, of course, when the media saw him come back to England, they knew exactly stories were up to be in sports.
That's the real reason he came, because he was very frustrated in Italy and Spain, because people could not understand his ideas and the way he could give interviews. But the fact that now he's fighting with the media, and not the media, with the referees. You've seen when he accused Jonathan Moss, the last game we were defeated by West Ham. So, and he was sent to the stands. And again, now the fact that he's now saying, if I say something, I'll be banned by FA, which means he's now fighting with FA, with the referees, with the players. Now he's accusing all the players. The interview he gave later on, he said that if you can see the players that underperformed in the match, there are some of them who underperformed, and he's pointing out on Gary Cahill, John Terry, Mikel, and Zuma, all those players, Eden Hazard. The fact that he replaced him on 78 minutes, and after that we conceded 2 goals. Chelsea were conceded 2 goals. Sorry. So that means that Mourinho himself, he's fighting against himself. And every time he's saying, I'm going to find a sad family, and the players are going to they're not going to have a good dinner. And yeah, for Mourinho, it's time to, we don't know, it's no longer when, if, but it's now when.
And exactly now, in 40 seconds, I want you to tell me, did you see New Zealand taking this time again for the World Rugby Cup?
Wow. For me, I love New Zealand. I like their haka
dance, of course. Everyone knows that. The scary moment.
It's kind of intimidating, and everybody's like, these guys are going to kill us. And they did indeed. Actually, they were leading first half with 21-3. Against Australia, and the second half Australia came and tried to push them up till the last 15 minutes, when these 2 guys had 2 good tries, and they really deserved, and they are now back-to-back world champions. And congratulations to all Blacks fans.
Of course. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll be right back after the break.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
Now, this had to be one of our favorite reports on lifestyle this week. Gael Tunga Rutembesha, an upcoming hip-hop gospel artist. Let's take a look back.
Gael Tunga Rutembesha is an upcoming hip-hop gospel artist. For so many years now, Gael has come a long way in his artistry journey. I had the pleasure to have a chat with Gael as he shared his experience in the music industry and how it has impacted his life and many others. Take a look.
So joining me today on the artist profile, which is the very first episode that we're doing about the artist profile, is Gael. Gael, thank you so much for allowing to have time for this.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, and Gael is an artist. He's a hip-hop artist.
Yeah.
You do gospel music.
Yes.
So Gael, tell me, who is Gael?
Gael is just a normal human being
Yeah.
who loves music and who loves a Christian
Yes.
who loves to rap for the Lord and loves to share his experiences and just another man trying to find his way through life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've seen how talented you are. When did you start this? Because I believe art is something that grows. You just don't jump into it.
Okay.
So when did you start singing?
Well, are you asking specifically my own songs or because
No, it could be general. It could
Okay.
be general.
Generally, I was so young. I was so young back in Nairobi, about I think 7 or 8 years old. When I got saved, it all changed because my writing changed. So I just started sharing my experience from things I learned after being a Christian, knowing all the things I did, and just the questions I had to God. Some of my songs are actually prayers. Yeah.
Do you have an album out or just singles, a couple of singles?
I just have singles, and since I got saved to now, there are about 10 or 11.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's really good.
As for the album, I'm working on one which will be out due next year, probably around the summer.
Okay.
Yeah. So my main goal is just to inspire as many people as I can, not just in Rwanda but also around Africa mostly, and God willing, outside Africa, the whole world. They're all on SoundCloud,
Okay.
which is soundcloud.com/Gael. Ga-yell as in yell,
Like yelling.
yelling.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Okay.
Sometimes I love spending time alone, just reading a book or just chilling in my room watching some series maybe I missed out on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you guys can hear that he's such an introvert, so you need to really drag him out of his comfort zone, which is okay. So there you've had it from Gael. Be authentic, be yourself, and just do what you have to do, and God will always help you. So thank you so much. Catch us next time with the next artist profile.
Don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports we do. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your pictures. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website, www.riseandshinerwanda.com. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We love to hear your feedback. And do let us know if you have any ideas for programs. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Yvette Shimbusho.
And me, Ivan Magwene. We'll be here same time, same place on Monday. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a very good day and even a better weekend. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.